It is not laziness. Let's rip that band-aid off immediately. You are almost certainly not lazy. And it is not a lack of money either. History is absolutely littered with stories of titans who started with $0 in a garage and built empires that changed the world. And it is not bad luck. No. The entity that is currently suffocating your potential, the serial killer that lived inside my house rent-free for 40 years, is much more subtle. It is insidious. It is a silent assassin hiding in the blind spot of your own mind. It disguises itself as a virtue. It wears the mask of high standards. It speaks with the voice of responsibility and preparation. And because it sounds so logical, it managed to rob me of 4 decades of my life before I ever saw its true face. If you have a dream that you haven't started, or a project that is currently gathering dust in mental limbo, you are almost certainly the victim of this silent killer. And today, we are going to put it on trial. The killer's name is perfectionism. But stop. Do not roll your eyes. I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking, I'm not a perfectionist. Look at my messy apartment. Look at my chaotic life. But you need to understand that perfectionism has nothing to do with being tidy. It isn't about organization. It is about the terrified, paralyzing belief that you cannot move a single inch forward until the conditions are right. It is the refusal to let yourself be seen by the world until you are absolutely bulletproof. It is a shield. I spent 40 years polishing that shield, thinking I was protecting myself, when in reality, the weight of that heavy metal was crushing me into the ground. I want to take you back to my 30s. I had a burning ambition to write a novel. It wasn't just a whim. It was a desperate need. I had the plot mapped out. I knew the characters. I had the ending visualized. So what did I do? I went out and bought the expensive, leather-bound moleskin notebooks. I bought a fountain pen, heavy, black resin, gold nib. I set up a desk in the corner of the room that looked like something out of an architectural magazine. I want you to visualize that desk. The polished mahogany wood, the pristine, cream-colored pages of the notebook, untouched by ink. The absolute silence of the room. It looks like the workspace of a professional, doesn't it? It smells like potential, the scent of paper and fresh ink. But here is the twist. Here is the microhook that explains your own stagnation. That desk wasn't a factory. It was a museum. It was a perfectly curated museum of intention where absolutely no work ever took place. For 5 years, I told myself I was researching. I spent hours on Wikipedia spirals. I bought books on the history of the era I was writing about. I drew elaborate character maps with color-coded lines. I needed to understand the historical context perfectly. I needed to outline every single beat of every single chapter before I wrote a word. I was preparing. But preparation is the favorite disguise of perfectionism. It feels like work. It releases the same dopamine in your brain as actual work, but it is actually active procrastination. It is fear dressed up in a business suit. I was terrified, petrified, that if I actually wrote a sentence, it might be bad. So to avoid the pain of writing a bad sentence, I chose the safety of writing nothing at all. The silent killer whispers a seductive lie into your ear. If I don't do it, I haven't failed yet. As long as the idea stays locked in your head, it remains perfect. It remains untainted. The moment you birth it into the real world, it becomes flawed. Perfectionism is the addiction to the potential at the cost of the actual. I remember watching a friend of mine during this time. Let's call him Dave. Dave was a mess. He started a business with a business plan that was barely a napkin sketch. He launched a product that literally had typos on the packaging. He spelled quality wrong. He was chaotic. I looked down on him from my ivory tower. I thought, he's not ready. He's unprofessional. He's going to crash. Listen to the sound of Dave's chaos. The frantic phone calls to suppliers. The sound of him apologizing to customers for mistakes. The sound of things breaking. It sounded stressful. It looked ugly. But while I was sitting in my silent, perfect, temperature-controlled room with my blank notebook, Dave was getting smacked in the face by the market, and he was learning. He fixed the typos. He improved the product. He iterated. 10 years later, Dave was a millionaire with a thriving company, and I was still researching the historical context of Chapter 3. The silence of my room wasn't dignity, it was death. The true cost of perfectionism is what I call the archive of nothing. I have shelves full of plans that never executed. I have journals full of brilliant ideas that never breathed oxygen. When I turned 60, I looked at that archive and I felt a wave of physical nausea. There is a specific, visceral sensation to realizing you have wasted your life preparing for a performance that never happened. It feels like a cold, heavy stone sitting in the bottom of your stomach. It is heavy, inert, and immovable. You realize too late that good enough is not the enemy of perfect. Perfect is the enemy of done. The silent killer works by raising the stakes until they are impossible to meet. It tells you, this has to be your masterpiece. This has to be the business that retires you. This has to be the love of your life. That pressure is paralyzing. It turns a creative act into a life or death situation. So, how do you kill the killer? You have to embrace the trash. You have to give yourself radical permission to produce absolute garbage. You have to write the terrible first draft. You have to launch the ugly website with the default font. You have to ask the girl out and stutter and turn red. I finally wrote my book when I was 65. Do you know how? I promised myself I would write the worst novel in human history. I lowered the bar from the ceiling to the floor, and suddenly the words flowed, because the fear was gone. I wasn't trying to be Shakespeare. I was just trying to be finished. The result? It wasn't perfect. It had flaws, but it was real. It existed in 3 dimensions. I could hold it in my hands, and holding a flawed physical book felt 1,000,000 times better than holding a perfect, imaginary one. If you are waiting for the right time, you are listening to the killer. The right time is never. The conditions will never be perfect. You will never be fully ready. Start now. Start messy. Start ugly. Break things. Make mistakes. Be like Dave. Don't let the silent killer suffocate your potential under the crushing weight of perfect. A diamond with a flaw is worth infinitely more than a pebble without one. Be the diamond. And if you want to know the harsh truth that would have saved me even more time, a truth about how the world actually sees you versus how you think they see you, then you need to hear What I Wish I Knew at 25.